China and Japan are clashing verbally over Taiwan. Tensions between China and Japan have risen over Taiwan's security. Japan has signaled it may intervene in a potential conflict, viewing it as a threat to its own stability. China condemned this as meddling, issuing strong warnings and summoning diplomats. This conflict started when Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, issued a direct warning to China during a session of the country's parliament. She stated that a conflict in the Taiwan Strait could represent a survival-threatening situation for Japan, implying that Tokyo might need to intervene militarily to protect its interests. This marked a bold escalation in Japan's stance on the Taiwan issue, signaling readiness to support Taiwan against potential Chinese action. Takaichi's comments, delivered amid rising regional tensions, prompted an immediate and sharp rebuke from Beijing, highlighting the fragile balance in East Asia and the risk of broader confrontation.
The remarks made by the Japanese leader on Taiwan constitute an interference in China's internal affairs and a serious violation of the One China principle and the basic norms governing international relations. Such words are extremely irresponsible and dangerous in nature and have caused very negative impact.
Taiwan is an island of 23 million people, situated about 100 miles off China's southeast coast. China regards it as a breakaway province under the One China principle, insisting that other countries acknowledge this and avoid treating Taiwan as a sovereign state. Taiwan, however, maintains its own government, conducts elections, and runs an independent economy, a setup rooted in 1949 when China's civil war concluded with the defeated nationalist forces retreating to the island while the communists consolidated power on the mainland. This division has persisted without full-scale war, but mutual distrust has grown. China has intensified its military presence around Taiwan in recent years, viewing reunification as a national goal. For instance, in October this year, H-6K bombers from the People's Liberation Army Air Force conducted flights over the island, while June exercises involved over 70 aircraft, including J-16 fighters and unmanned drones, crossing the median line of the Taiwan Strait. Naval operations have featured Type 052D destroyers and Type 054A frigates patrolling the waters. Beijing frames these as defensive drills to deter independence moves.
Japan claims to be a peace-loving nation, yet the Takaichi
The infrastructure industry, the real estate industry, and everything associated with it eventually is a huge contribution, not just to the country's GDP, but to our overall potential to be a global player. What's the big picture? Let's set the context to this. Why are we doing this?
We are bringing about a very credible voice for the home buyers, for the real estate investors, through Republic TV's amazing platform.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
Some places feel like they've been waiting for you, where every piece speaks of legacy, from diamonds that celebrate ambition to festive gold that honors tradition. LD Sons.
Our pure शाही पनीर मसाला, delicious, healthy, every day.
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
Some places feel like they've been waiting for you, where every piece speaks of legacy, from diamonds that celebrate ambition to festive gold that honors tradition. LD Sons.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
So in the past, we would see most of the terrorists who would get arrested, they would be like the people who would be working at a very low level. But today we have seen the white collar suspect.
कश्मीर घाटी में डॉक्टर्स एक बहुत अल्टीमेट ड्रीम होता है वहां के लड़के लड़कियों का, उस बनने के बावजूद अगर आप रेडिकलाइज होकर अपने ही देशवासियों को मारने के लिए और अपने देश को तोड़ने के लिए तैयार हो सकते हैं, तो आप अंदाजा लगाइए किस तरह की रेडिकलाइजेशन हो रही है और इस फ्रंट पे हम क्या काम कर रहे हैं.
The evidence trail of Islamist radicalization. Inside India's confirmed radicalization networks. The undeniable map of Islamist radicalization, debating tonight at 8 p.m.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome. You're watching the Friday edition of This Is Exclusive. Tonight on This Is Exclusive, we'll put the spotlight on the tragic incident that took place in Dubai. LCA Tejas has crashed, and this is the second such incident that has taken place in the last few years. What led to the crash is something that perhaps it would be too early to come to any sort of conclusion. But what we will essentially try to do over the next couple of minutes, dissect every bit of information that has basically come into the newsroom, and more importantly, thwart the attempts that are likely to be made by our adversaries to carry out their propaganda. All this and much more in this edition of This Is Exclusive. But up first, let me take you to the headlines we're tracking at this hour. LCA Tejas fighter jet crashes during Dubai air show while executing a G- split S maneuver. Indian Air Force issues statement on the Tejas fighter jet crash, confirms pilot sustained fatal injuries. Indian Air Force orders inquiry into Dubai Tejas air crash panel to ascertain cause of the accident. New revelations come to fore from terrorist Muzammil's phone data. 200 videos are recovered showing recce of religious site across Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. Ladies and gentlemen, a Tejas fighter jet crashed on today during a flying demonstration at the Dubai Air Show, sending a plume of thick black smoke over the Al Maktoum International Airport as crowds looked on. The pilot died in the crash, the Indian Air Force has now confirmed. Before we get you into the details of the crash, let's take a look at the light combat aircraft at a glance. It is important, ladies and gentlemen, that you essentially understand why this flight program of ours has been successful to a greater extent. But what are the issues really that have been plaguing the Indian Air Force, and how exactly has the Air Force tried to tackle all of this? But first, take a look at the journey of the LCA Tejas.
A single-engine, multi-role light combat aircraft, Tejas is engineered for both air defense superiority and precision ground attack missions. Developed by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, In collaboration with the Aeronautical Development Agency, it represents India's most advanced indigenous fighter efforts. The Tejas program stands at the heart of India's Make in India defense push, designed to sharply cut reliance on foreign combat platforms. Former Defense Minister, late Manohar Parrikar, was behind induction of this light combat aircraft Tejas into the Indian Air Force.
2017 के मार्च तक मुझे लगता है 6 से लेके 8 एयरक्राफ्ट शामिल हो जाएंगे। अगले बरस हमारी कोशिश है कि 2 लाइंस बनाई जाए और बरस में 16 एयरक्राफ्ट की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की जाए। इसका कई एडवांटेजेस है। एक एडवांटेज जो है कि इट इज़ जो लोगों ने इसे फ्लाई किया है उनके कहने के मुताबिक उसकी जो हैंडलिंग है, मतलब रिस्पॉन्स टू द स्टिक, इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड.
Inducted in 2016, Tejas carries a maximum payload of 4,000 kilograms and is flown by a single pilot on a single engine configuration. Its maximum takeoff weight stands at 13,300 kilograms.
It's very unfortunate, but then we know how to weather all this and come out successful. But notwithstanding this, even though such a fatal has taken place, and I'm sure the squadron, the Indian Air Force, and the family of the ill-fated pilot, they must be. We really know they must be going through a real miserable time. But notwithstanding all that, Tejas is still a wonderful aircraft. Is a greatest addition to the Indian Air Force.
Something has gone wrong, and the aircraft is mushing into the ground at a very fast pace. Close to the ground, the altitude is slightly higher. It could be the pilot is attempting relight in case of an engine failure. If there's a control malfunction, he would be trying to recover. Why he couldn't eject, we don't know. It could have been, other angles also, that the height was low, or it could be an error of judgment. One cannot say till the court of inquiry has actually ascertained what the real cause is.
This light combat aircraft is a 4.5 generation multi-role fighter designed to deliver offensive air support and provide close combat assistance during ground operations. Its induction marked a significant milestone for indigenous defense manufacturing, a testament to Manohar Parrikar's unwavering push for self-reliance under the Make in India program.
Well, aviation experts have always indicated that Tejas happens to be one of the safest platforms to essentially fly. So what really happened this afternoon around 2:10 in Dubai, that is 3:40 in India time, when the crash actually took place? While it's difficult to come to any sort of conclusion at this point in time as to what basically led to the crash, what we have essentially done after speaking to multiple experts is try and dissect a little bit of what we know so far in terms of the images that have basically come in. Let's begin. This is the time when the takeoff basically takes place. That's about 0 to 10 seconds. As you can see, it executes the initial rolls. Like, can I just go back to the first frame? Now, let me just take you to the first frame. That's the first frame coming in when the takeoff exactly happens. If you can see, it's pretty much a clear sky. The conditions are absolutely fine when the takeoff actually happens. It's the 0 to 10 seconds. It climbs into the clear sky. Now, let's move to the other one. Let's move to the second frame. This is the aircraft basically entering the vertical loop. Now, the vertical loop has already taken place, after which is when thing starts sliding down, because that's when the aircraft was actually planning to go in for what is basically known as the negative G split maneuver, which is again during a vertical loop that it takes place. It seems that this essentially demands a high G turn, and that's when it seems that they've lost control. The aircraft basically collides into the ground. That's the 20 to 25 seconds. So it's roughly about a little over 30 seconds within which this crash has actually taken place. The crash takes place not in a crowded area. It's not in the spectator area. It's a little far away from there. And that's the reason why there have been no casualties as far as spectators are basically concerned. But at the same time, if you see what has essentially happened was that the pilot really does not have the time for carrying out the ejection process itself. Now, there could be multiple reasons for it. We're going to delve into the reasons for this crash in a short while from now, but I just want to give you a sense, a full picture of what we know as far as the LCA program is concerned. And how does it really stack up, keeping in mind that today the Indian Air Force is really struggling when it comes to the number of aircrafts that we have. We have phased out a few of them, and now the LCA essentially being brought in. Of course, Rafale also being brought in. Now, with regards to Tejas, there are only 2+ squadrons right now that you're looking in. About 36 are already in service. Number of aircraft that we have lost so far, this is the second such aircraft that we have lost. The last time that we lost was in 2024, where we lost near Jaisalmer. And in 2025, right now, this is the second one that we have actually lost. I'm going to go across to my colleague Ishan, who's also picked up more details with regards to what's really happened. And I'll also go full frame with regards to the very timeline that we have been able to establish. Ishan, you have spoken to sources within the Indian Air Force headquarters to get a sense of what has really happened over the last few hours. Help us understand while we put across all the images that we have got, right from the time the takeoff takes place, the vertical loop, the maneuver that takes place at a low altitude, and what really has happened.
The LCA at the Dubai Air Show took off from the tarmac and was performing a few barrel rolls and was getting a lot of applause from the crowd. And after that, the LCA started a very complicated and a very high G maneuver. Now, this particular maneuver put around 5 Gs of force on this aircraft. And during this high G maneuver, the concluding part of the maneuver was the barrel roll. Now, this barrel roll was initiated by the pilot, and at the lower end of the barrel roll, we can see that there is some issue with the thrust, and the nose of the aircraft, which should have been pitched high up, was not pitched up. Now, this pitch up was the most crucial part, because this aircraft came to a very low altitude, around 300 feet from the ground, or ALG 150. And after the ALG 150, the pilot was supposed to pitch up the aircraft. And during this pitch up maneuver, this aircraft faced a critical failure. These are two major sources that have told us that there are two major possibilities for this failure. That one is the engine thrust issue with the Mark 1 aircraft. Now, this is the older Tejas Mark 1 aircraft. The Tejas Mark 1A is yet to be delivered. This is the older Mark 1 aircraft. And this aircraft had an issue with its compressor. Now, this compressor issue has been raised with GE.
Ishan, I'll just request... Ishan, I'll request you to stay on with us, because we in fact have Dr. Sumit. He's the chairman and aviation expert from Divine Air. In fact, Dr. Sumit was there at the air show. Dr. Sumit, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. I want to begin by asking you as to what did you really witness? I don't think so anyone would have really gone to the air show expecting this, but it's an unfortunate incident that has taken place. Dr. Sumit, I want to ask you, what do you make of it?
It's basically it's something like it's a part of, it's a proud of our nation, Tejas, and seeing the Tejas to get crashed in the show like Dubai Air Show, where the world aircrafts are coming in, where all the Russian aircraft, German aircrafts are parked here, and for past 3 days, from past 3 days the show is going on. Every day some other aircrafts are doing show, and we were expecting, because before this, the Surikaran did their aerobatic show over here, and it was very nice. It was appreciated from the people from the world across. But today, after the takeoff, everything was going well, and they just this time we saw flying very low altitude. Normally they don't do that thing.
Can you all do
this time they
little bit of more work?
Yeah, but they were trying to fly very low, and we thought it's gonna be something very good. But the last moment, the way the nose dive, it was definitely end up in disaster. And immediately after the crash, the entire air show, the Dubai police have pushed everyone out of the airport, and the entire show got shut down. Being the last day of the event, definitely it was very dominating for other people also. But it's like a very regretting moment for everyone.
Dr. Sumit, were you present when this crash actually took place?
There in the apron itself, I was watching everything there because this aircraft took off in front of me from the runway. So we were just waiting to capture some of the videos, and we thought normally they do the show for another 5 to 6 minutes, but this thing came down within a minute. So we not got time to start recording also.
Dr. Sumit, just give us a sense of what has happened over the last few days, because there has been an attempt, Dr. Sumit, in terms of a propaganda machinery that was being completely activated with, some images doing the rounds that there was a fuel leak that took place, which is, of course, debunked by the Indian Air Force, saying that there was nothing as such as far as the fuel leak is concerned. So there has been a concerted effort to try and run down this entire flying program of India.
No, nothing. There was no technical error informed. There was no leakage because this aircraft, before the takeoff, I was standing there and everything was good. Every check was happened, and around 176 aircraft, the fighter jets from around the world came for the air show. So I was personally handy, and definitely without a check, the authority will not give a clearance to take off, especially when there are millions of people watching this show. So definitely there's no, before the takeoff, there was no technical error. But now after the crash, definitely the authority, which they said that within 3 days, within 72 hours, they're going to get some preliminary reports. So we are also waiting for the same now.
Dr. Sumit, I'll request you to stay on with us as Wing Commander Gitanjali is also joining us on this broadcast. Wing Commander Gitanjali, I want to ask you with regards to the journey of LCA Tejas itself. Many are now raising this question, and some concerns that have also been raised by the Indian Air Force chief himself in the past. And that brings back this entire debate about the machine, the flying machine itself, and the efficacy of it.
Yeah, the LCA and the Tejas program it's been the flagship program for the country and the nation's, self-reliance and indigenous capabilities. Of course, there have been two setbacks, and today the images are really, it's really sad to see the visuals that are being displayed, and it's disheartening to see this machine, come all the way down, performing a signature maneuver which LCA does perform and has been performing since since its inception and commissioning in the Air Force at various platforms at various air shows. So this has been going on, and this is one of the most enthralling performances and the maneuvers that the audiences in an air show awaits from an LCA. So yeah, this has been there and it has happened. It's unfortunate that today we can see the aircraft just crashing down and blowing up in flames. What it has gone down, even dissecting the LCA program, questioning the qualities right now, I think it's too preliminary to go on to that track of dissecting those. Every new machine, we must understand, everything that is being newly made, innovated or developed indigenously has not just indigenously, even if it's made abroad, it always undergoes the process of corrections and the coastline corrections that it goes through the process. But however, it has been delivering the results. It's been part of the missions. It has been delivering the bit. And as rightly said, there's a saying by the pilots that the way the machine responds to the stick and the way the machine's performance is, it's remarkable in this series of aircrafts. So yes, there were some teething issues, I won't deny, with the program. But however, it has come out, I think, quite well. So today, the incident, of course, has happened. But, there's always a Swiss cheese model. There are always reasons, then leading causes that all, combines and leads up to an accident or an incident happening there. Very unfortunate to lose one of our pilots here as well as the machine. So it's an unfortunate incident, and I think it's too early to comment upon the quality of the program or what would have gone wrong.
Wing Commander Gitanjali, that's absolutely right, that no one really wants to really talk about right now about the efficacy of the program itself. But it's important to perhaps highlight the fact, because to preempt the kind of propaganda one is expecting, or the onslaught of this kind of propaganda that's expected to come in. But before that, let me also once again go back to Amit Kakkar. He's the managing editor of EmiratesReporter.com, who was there at the Dubai Air Show. Amit, in fact, you were present at the Dubai Air Show just moments before the crash. You had reached there. Give us a sense of what really happened. What did you really pick up?
Shawan, actually, if you remember, we were just having a chat yesterday, and you had asked for some visuals on the grand finale on the final day of the air show today. And I had actually just gone there to, grab some footages and some visuals and to speak to some of the Indians present there or some airmen present there. And I was actually not inside the venue. I had just parked my car at the designated spot. And then through the shuttle, when we reached there, that time the entry was stopped. And that was precisely around 3 p.m. And some of the people were coming out and they told us that this has happened, which I reported to. And by that time, we already had that input. And after that, we were stopped at the entry point and we were not allowed to get inside. And we saw people coming out also, and that's where when I started contacting my own sources in the authorities. And later, as I was sharing with you, that after a couple of hours, I came to know that the authorities are saying that it could be a human error or it could be a technical error, but it will be clear after the proper investigation. The inquiry has been ordered, of course, and it will take around 72 hours. For the authorities to come out with the reasons behind this mishap and the crash that happened, which led to the loss of the pilot, from the Indian Air Force. And nothing to speculate at this very moment. Being in UAE, we need to go by the laws. We need to wait for the report from the authorities, and then we can actually say what was the clear situation. At the moment, I would say that I was not present inside the venue. I had just arrived, and that time the crash had already happened. I was on my way to the venue, which is already close to 2 hours from the main city. So I was on my way, and by that time the crash had happened when I arrived, and that's where we got connected. And then I got connected to my own sources.
Thank you very much, Amit, for joining us. I want to go back to Dr. Sumit, who was present there when this crash actually took place. Dr. Sumit, a lot has been spoken about the Tejas during the Dubai Air Show. And since you've been there, I want to get a sense from you with regards to the excitement with which Tejas was being projected, especially during the Dubai Air Show. Is there anything that you would like to share with us? Some conversations that may have also taken place between you and several others.
Yeah, I had a word with multiple Air Force officials of Emirates also from UAE. And they're really, most of the people from different corners of the world were trying to take the pictures with Tejas. So when definitely we were saying that there were multiple Russian aircraft, there were multiple German aircraft was parked. But the crowd was, the Tejas was pulling the crowd. And it was a center of attraction in the Dubai Air Show. So definitely, even I was there. I took multiple pictures with Tejas. So we were expecting that this is going to be a very good show by Tejas. And normally in the air show, the manufacturers always expect a lot of orders. And even in Dubai Air Show, there are multiple orders placed for multiple defense aircraft, commercial aircraft. So we were expecting, being an Indian, that India will get multiple orders, the HAL will get multiple orders of this aircraft. But, after the crash, we can't expect anything more from this, because definitely now there's a question mark on everyone's mind that is the aircraft safe or not. So definitely the inquiry should be there, because at the last moment, the low altitude flying and coming down, it was not expected by anyone, because from past 4 days, we are watching a lot of air show over here. A lot of aircrafts are doing, low altitude flying. Everything went good, but in the last moment, and only hardly, I think, there was 4 more show was left after the Tejas show. Everything got cancelled immediately after this.
Dr. Sumit, I'll request you to stay on with us. I just want to take one final question with Wing Commander Gitanjali in terms of what do you make of it, Wing Commander Gitanjali, if you simply go by the images that we have got, in terms of the difficulty that a fighter pilot undergoes, particularly when we are talking of negative split maneuver that was basically being carried out. How difficult, how challenging is it?
Yeah, indeed, it's a very challenging maneuver. But yes, of course, all our pilots, these are the finest pilots, performing at the air shows, and it has been numerously carried out, well thought about, and very well trained officers who perform and the pilots who are there. So as far as the skill level is concerned, it is extremely, like I'll say, it's exceptional at that for the officers who are performing these maneuvers. However, yes, as far as what could have gone wrong here or what would have transpired here is, the machine seems to be the maneuver seems to be being carried out in the manner that it was supposed to be. But yes, there is a definite loss wherein the nose seems to just come down, and then there's just a sudden loss of altitude. It again regains and the wings go level as soon as very, very close to the surface. But yes, there is no altitude available to, again, pull up, and there are no margins available at that point of time. So yes, there is from there, the recovery is next to impossible, and that's what has happened here.
Wing Commander Gitanjali, Dr. Sumit, for joining us on this broadcast, and my colleague Ishan for getting us the latest details. An unfortunate incident that has taken place earlier today. But having said that, one cannot take away the fact that LCA Tejas also happens to be one of the finest aircraft to have been produced by India.
Evidence trail of Islamist radicalization. Inside India's confirmed radicalization networks. The undeniable map of Islamist radicalization, debating tonight at 8 p.m.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला।
Some places feel like they've been waiting for you, where every piece speaks of legacy, from diamonds that celebrate ambition to festive gold that honors tradition. LD Sons.
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे।
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी, चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
Some places feel like they've been waiting for you, where every piece speaks of legacy, from diamonds that celebrate ambition to festive gold that honors tradition. LD Sons.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा प्योर मसाला।
China and Japan are clashing verbally over Taiwan. Tensions between China and Japan have risen over Taiwan's security. Japan has signaled it may intervene in a potential conflict, viewing it as a threat to its own stability. China condemned this as meddling, issuing strong warnings and summoning diplomats. This conflict started when Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, issued a direct warning to China during a session of the country's parliament. She stated that a conflict in the Taiwan Strait.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
From the smartphones and smart television, trending stories are always breaking in the internet. And tonight we begin with the travesty that has befallen in the Dubai Air Show as IAF, the Indian Air Force Tejas jet, crashed in a mid-flight maneuver. We get you all the angles and we speak to an expert to understand what really could have happened behind as the investigation is still underway. This is the second recorded crash of the Tejas, the HAL-made, India-made Tejas, a key jet in India's efforts to modernize its air force fleet and, of course, also Atmanirbharta in defense. Other end of the globe is witnessing a rife with a tiff of its own, this time over the international bickering concerning US's steadfast refusal to attend the G20 summit hosted by South Africa. We'll bring you the attention to a national perspective as well. The viral moment of the Bengaluru Tech Summit as well, where astronaut group captain Shubhanshu Shukla took the internet by a storm over his jibe at the tech hub's traffic, which even earned him a sporting response by the IT minister of the state. And we will also get you more updates as to how social media went abuzz with clips coming in from Kolkata as Bangladesh was struck by an earthquake this morning. We'll tell you much more on this show. Trending with me, Rakshita. In an absolutely shocking turn of events at the Dubai Air Show, the Air Force's Tejas aircraft was struck by tragedy in just a matter of few seconds. The aircraft mid-flight nosedived into the ground, bursting into flames into thick black smoke. On your screen, viewers, we'll show you 3 videos showing the trajectory of the aircraft from 3 angles. The light combat aircraft Tejas that has proved its capabilities in various shows, succumbing to a misfortunate crash. The visuals and speculations also somewhere suggested that it was a low-altitude maneuver. You can see that, in fact. One of the last laps that the pilot was making into the sky when the crash happened. The cause of the crash remains unknown. No official word on that, but experts indicate that there could be some failure, some technical failure. We will, of course, speak to our experts to understand that. We will not speculate as to this is a fatal crash, viewers, and it involves a made in India jet. Our Air Force, of course, much relying on the Tejas aircraft, especially after the retirement of the MiG-21. All right, so just to understand, viewers, the crash happened as formations were on display at the air show. It's the last day of the air show, and the aircraft was in the middle of a low-altitude maneuver. Republic has learned from its sources that the half-loop reversal was being done when the aircraft